Hi everyone, Oliver here, and in this video, I'll take you along on my Harley Davidson from the base of Mount Whitney, the highest point in the contiguous United States, to Badwater Basin, the lowest. It was September 3rd, 2025. I'd stayed the night at the Mount Whitney Motel in Lone Pine, California, after a long ride down from Reno the day before. While I wasn't trailed by 20 hounds, it sure felt like I didn't get any sleep last night until the morning came around. Coming down 395, I got rained on from the California-Nevada state line all the way to Bishop, a beautiful stretch that I had been wanting to ride for a while. The Harley rain suit held up very well, but the rain was heavy and visibility was low, so I slowed down and stayed in the right lane, not making much time. At a gas stop in Lone Pine, I spotted the Mount Whitney Motel right across the street. Wet, tired, and hungry, that glowing vacancy sign made the decision easy for me. $100 for a dry bed sounded perfect. And that stop turned out to be the best call. It meant that I could ride through Death Valley instead of over the same old interstates back home to Arizona. Just south of Lone Pine, I grabbed California State Route 136, which links into State Route 190, the main road into Death Valley. It started to get real exciting after entering Death Valley National Park. There are some great turns and twists that were really fun to get into. There is a great turnoff at a place called Father Crowley's Overlook. It gives you an incredible view down into the canyon and desert floor below. Until 2019, fighter pilots used this area for low-level training. Sadly, on July 31st, 2019, U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander Charles Walker was killed in a training accident in what is known as Rainbow Canyon below. May he never be forgotten. Back on the road, the route constantly rises and falls in elevation, up and down over passes, dropping thousands of feet in minutes. As I mentioned, yesterday I got rained on what seemed like all day. But today, it was just the perfect day to be on the bike. This stretch of road also makes up the majority of the route for the Badwater 135 Ultramarathon, one of the toughest endurance races in the world. It's held annually in July, where temperatures often exceed 110 degrees, and ground pounders cover 135 miles with over 14,000 feet of ascent and 6,000 feet of descent. Shout out to my friend Brian Recor, who has completed it 3 times. Sometimes the only thing between you and an amazing view is a Nissan Rogue, and there was no way I was going to let that happen. When it comes to fuel out here, Stovepipe Wells looks like it would be the better stop. Nice store, good setup, but the fuel selection isn't great. Furnace Creek, on the other hand, has more options, including diesel and high octane, with more pumps available, though the store itself doesn't have as much. And definitely bring your wallet. The prices are steep, even by California standards. Turning on to Badwater Road, there were all sorts of signs warning drivers that the road was flooded ahead. I'm a bit stubborn, so I kept going. I wanted to say that I had my bike at the highest and lowest point in the same day. The road was extremely beat up, and I was really feeling it. I'm on the stock Harley suspension, and this was really making me want an upgrade. After stopping at Badwater Basin, I kept riding down Badwater Road. It continued to get even worse as far as the conditions and bumps went, but I eventually came out at State Route 178, which led me to Pahrump, Las Vegas, and eventually Scottsdale, where I was welcomed home by a dust storm. This was a great ride to end the last leg of my Lake Tahoe trip. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Ride often and ride safe.